Hey, my name is Lonnie Passoff. I'm the founder of Green Payment Processing, referred to as Green Money. Sometimes they call me the Green Money Man. I want to talk to you today about cash flow. One of the most important things, if not the most important thing in business, is cash flow. Now, you've heard this before, you've heard a lot of people talk about it, and obviously it's not the easiest thing to deal with. Let's start with what you eat in the morning. Why is it important for you to get up in the morning and have breakfast, or go to lunch, or have dinner? Well, it's pretty simple. You have to live, right? You have to eat in order to survive. Well, cash flow is the food for any business. So if you don't have cash flow, if you have negative cash flow, you're spending too much money, you're bringing in less than you're putting out, guess what? You're gonna die. I mean, that's how it works, because cash flow is the food for any business. When I first started in business years ago, one of the things I realized right away was that I needed income coming in, and I needed it coming in fast. The best way to do that is to not lock yourself down and say, all right, I need to get PayPal, I need to get credit card processing, and that's it. You need to be creative. There are people out there with cash. There are people out there these days with Bitcoin. There are people with Visa, MasterCard, American Express, Discover, checks. What you need to think about is what type of payment processing or what type of payments you're going to accept as a business. If I'm going to give you advice as someone who owns one of the largest payment processing companies in the country, you have to have all of it. A lot of companies come to us and they ask, why should we accept check? Everybody has a credit card. Well, guess what? Yes, everybody has a credit card, but everybody has a debit card as well. And that debit card is attached to what? It's attached to your bank account, right? So let me get this straight. You as a business, you're questioning why you should accept check. Let me tell you why. When you go to pay your car payment, do they accept credit card? I don't think so. When you pay your house payment, do they accept credit card? No. When you pay your utility bill, 90% of the time, they don't accept credit card, or at least the option's not available to you without calling in. The reason the banks don't want to accept credit card is the same reason that you should be accepting checks. Because they don't want to pay 2, 3, 4, 5% or more for credit card processing. It's just cash flow. It's pretty simple. You want to save as much money as you can so that you can spend money on yourself, like this beautiful palace I'm sitting in right now. So you can spend money on, let's say, a first-class ticket to Hawaii. You want to take your family out. You want to get a new employee, an employee that you can actually take care of. These are important things to you. Cash flow is super, super, super important in business. And so if you only accept credit card and you don't accept check, you're doing the exact opposite that the banks are doing. The banks are working really, really, really hard to make sure that they don't lose money. And you shouldn't want to lose money either. Now let's talk about how you get off of credit card. And you don't need to get completely off of credit card. A good split normally is like a 70-30. One of the drawbacks to checks are return checks or bounces. And one of the ways to get around that is called whitelisting. In order to get off a credit card and kind of get off of that hook where you're paying 3, 4, 5, 6%, sometimes you guys in the high risk spaces are paying as much as 10% because you have a reserve. And so you got that reserve locked up for 90, 180 days, sometimes even longer. And I can tell you right now, don't always count on getting that reserve back. If you go out of business, you're not going to get it back. If you're with kind of a shady processor, you may not get it back. If you're processing overseas, you may not get it back. Let's just count that as it's not cash flow. You're not going to see it for some time. So let's say you're paying 3%, 4%, 5%, you want to save some money. You build a whitelist. What a whitelist does is a whitelist allows you to know who you trust and who you can bill by check and who you can't. To start off, you accept check. In my case, we bill people by ACH immediately. It's the very first thing we do. We bill you by ACH, and then if you bounce the check on us, we turn you on to credit card. That way, the people who pay by check, which cost us a lot less than credit card, if they continue to pay by check and everything continues to run smoothly, we whitelist them. We literally put them on a list, and these are the guys that we want paying by check. They don't mind paying by check. They're going to continue to pay by check, and I'm going to continue to pay 3, 4, 5, 6% less. That's cash flow. There's two different types of businesses out there. There is your brick and mortar, and then there's your e-commerce. If you're in brick and mortar and you want to accept check, it's pretty simple. They bring the check in, they write the check, they sign the check. If you have an e-commerce system, you're going to need to get set up. Hopefully you set up with us. We would love that. But you can set up with a number of different banks. You can set up with a number of different processors. But you definitely want to look for ACH. If you're in a high-risk business and you're banned, there are certain types of businesses that are not allowed to process ACH. If you find yourself in that position, go for electronic checks, or what they call e-check. There are specialists that do that. We do that at Green Money. We also have some competitors that offer that. The banks don't offer e-check. All right, so let's talk about the importance of not blocking a payment method. I used to have a limousine service, and I got a phone call in the middle of the night, and I used to answer the phones myself and go pick people up and do all this work, and I'm trying to make it just like you. I accepted at that time Visa, MasterCard, American Express, and Discover. So I got this guy, he calls me up in the middle of the night, and he's looking for a limousine service. He needs to be picked up at a private airport. So right away, I know he's got money. You're coming in at a private airport. Obviously, this guy's got cash. But he's got a JCB card. I've never heard of a JCB card, at least then. So I told the guy, look, if you have any other sort of payment method, I'd appreciate it because we don't accept JCB. Well, he's got Japanese yen. What to do? What am I going to do? For most of you, you just say no. We need Visa, MasterCard, American Express, Discover. No, you can't actually accept Japanese yen. You can go to Bank of America and quite a few other places and trade it out for cash. Well, I was smart enough to say yes. I said, absolutely, sir. I'll accept cash. I'll accept your cash. I'll accept gold, silver, whatever you have. Because at that time, I didn't have a lot of money and I really wanted to. So I went ahead and said yes. As soon as he got off the phone with me and gave me all his details and jumped off and was on his nice little jet on the way in. So I started to get dressed. I started to get ready. And as I'm putting my clothes on, I'm thinking, geez, what am I going to do with these Japanese yen? So I jumped online and I got the conversion rate. And I went to the airport, I picked him up, and I knew exactly how much to collect from him. As a matter of fact, I was smart enough to collect an extra 10% because I knew the bank was going to charge me something. He was happy, I was happy, and I got paid. And that's just a little short story of why you should accept pretty much every payment method. So I start making money. I decide that I'm going to take my brand new American Express card, I'm going to take it shopping. I went down and I wanted to buy a brand new motorcycle. I went into the dealer, we made a deal on the price, the exact bike I wanted and everything. Went to the counter, we went to go do all the paperwork. They don't accept American Express. So what do you do in that situation? Do you pull out your Visa? Well, guess what? My Visa didn't have $13,000 on it. My American Express did. I asked them, why don't you accept American Express? And they said, well, because it costs about 1% more. Okay. So you're willing to lose my business over $130 on a $13,000 bike. Does that make sense to you? This is why I talk about you should accept Visa, MasterCard, American Express, Discover, JCB, Diners Club, cash, deposits, Bitcoin, check, all of this stuff. It makes sense. It's money. So any which way you can make money in this world, it's really, really, really important. You want to end up in a place like this, you want to end up making really good money, you need to be creative. I was talking about different types of payment methods, and one of the ones that you should accept that you may be a little confused about is Bitcoin. When you have a client that, let's say you may not trust them that much, Bitcoin is perfect. Because once they send that Bitcoin and you've received confirmation, there is no charging it back. If you can get money from somebody and they can't charge it back, that's real cash flow. This is free information that can change your life and the life of your business. Make sure you click like at the bottom and subscribe to my videos so you get a lot more of them.